Okay, so I have problem number 8 here, which is on page 6 of packet 6, and we need to find 5 different things here. So let's start with the degree of the function. The degree of the function is always your highest power in your function. So the highest power here is 6, right? X to the 6th power. So that means our degree of function is 6. Well, what does this degree of function really mean? What does the 6 value mean? Well, it actually tells us how many solutions we have for this function. In other words, how many x-intercepts we have. So if we were to graph this function here, we would have 6 x-intercepts. And we're going to see if that's the case. Now, let's find the leading coefficient next. So the leading coefficient is always the number or the coefficient that is in front of your highest power. In other words, in front of the x to the 6th power. Well, what's the number here? It's going to be a negative, right? A -1. So the coefficient in front of this x to the 6th power is a -1. So I'm going to write that here as my leading coefficient. All right, next up is graphing. So I'm going to make my coordinate system. And if I want to graph this, I have to use my graphing calculator. So I'm going to now switch the camera. I'm going to turn on the camera of this. Okay. So I have my camera ready, and here's my graphing calculator. So make sure that it's turned on, and then you're going to hit this y equals button. It's on the far left corner, so I'm going to press that, and this takes you to the graphing section. So you can see you have y equals, and I'm going to type in my function. So this is number 8. So I need a negative. So here's my negative button. Negative x. X is next to the green button. And now I'm going to have to get an exponent. So I use this arrow key or caret button. So now I can write an exponent. So to the 6th power. And I use this arrow key up here to bring myself down so I can put that plus, oh sorry, not plus, minus x to the 2nd power. Use that arrow key again to bring myself down, and then minus 5x. Okay, so I have that, and then it's a plus 4. Plus 4. I'm going to just check my equation and make sure that I typed it in correctly, and it looks like I did. So now I'm going to hit graph. Let's see what this gives us. Okay, so sorry for the glare here. But it looks like I have, how do I not be in this glare? Okay, there we go. So looking at the graph here, it looks like I have this kind of like weird U shape, right? So I'm going to draw that picture on my packet. But I can see that there are 2 intercepts. By the way, if you don't have this in the right frame, you might have it zoomed in or zoomed out. So if you want to get it in this standard form, in other words 10 up, 10 over, you hit zoom, and then you choose number 6, and that will give you a 10 by 10 graph. And so now I'm going to sketch that graph on my packet. So I'm going to pause now, put this to the side here. Okay, so I'm grabbing a pen. And so it looks like something like this. All right, based off my graph, it's probably not as good. I can redo that. Let me redo that. There we go. And I'm going to put my arrows. And checking this out, those x-intercepts are right here and here, because that's where it crosses the x-axis. And so it looks like I have two real solutions, because I can see that there are 2 on this graph, right? But a moment ago, we were saying that the degree of the function is 6, and so that means I should be seeing 6 x-intercepts. So where are the other 4? Well, because I can't see them on this graph, they are going to be imaginary. So I have 4 imaginary solutions. All right, last thing we need to do is find the n behavior. In other words, what is the left side and the right side of the graph? So looking at the, let me grab a pointer. Looking at the left side here, we can see that this side is pointing down, so my left side is pointing down. And I can also see that my right side is also pointing down, so the right side is also pointing down. And so that's my end behavior. And that's basically it. So we're done here.